for them coming to me on the back of Maestro and saying, you know, we really want you to, you know, make a composition, commission you to do a composition based on Darwin's Evolution for 7 minutes.
Wow. And a classical composition.
And a classical, well, when you say classical, it's like, it's an orchestra, so by default,
Right.
it's going to be classicist, it's going to be that sound.
But did you have a perception before, really, what classical music actually was? I know it's a stupid question, but there's so many rules and regulations.
My perception of it is, I think the industry has failed to make it something else, whereas the composers and the players and the people that have done stuff, you know, when you look at a lot of composers, you know, they're still alive. Goretzky, for example, being one of the finer attributes. You know, I'm not a Mozart guy, but I'm definitely an Elgar guy and definitely a Beethoven guy, without a doubt. And I think like any genre, within the genre there are pots and pans and there are absolutely blinding classics.
But we're almost scared of making those distinctions, aren't we? Because we think there's something going on. That if we say what you just said, you know, I'm a Beethoven and Elgar guy, but not a Mozart guy, then maybe we've made a mistake somewhere. But ultimately, it's just about what you like.
It's about what you like within the genre, something you like. I mean, I think for the better ones of the word, the two genres of music, drum and bass and classical, that have been very misunderstood. The difference is that we don't have, around drum and bass, we don't seem to have the same kind of hierarchy as I think classical music has had over the 300, 400, 500 years, whatever it is. And I think the difference is that you have to understand that music being made at that time and geniuses that sat and wrote on paper without actually hearing a note and writing everything down, the ability that those geniuses had are probably no different than Thom Yorke in terms of radio. Thom Yorke can sit there and write this unbelievable, probably one of the most best songwriters of our time. I really believe that. But I think the process of making music has changed so drastically and so much. I was in the Albert Hall when I first started doing this project, and I went in the Albert Hall, and it's the first time I've been up to an organ, and I've really seen an organ, apart from thinking organ, church, religion, kill people. And I looked at this organ, and I went to myself, there's all these knobs, and I went, and it's got clarinet, tuba, and I'm like, you know what? So this is the first synth then. An organ is the first synth. It's the first synthesizer. Yeah. You look at people like Beethoven. You know, I put his music down to math when I looked at it. I mean, people have always said music is math. Yeah. But when you look at Symphony No. 5, and you write it in numbers 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5 6, and you write it in numbers, you realise that he shifts the bars over, and it's a bit like I was trying to explain to my friend. Ivor said to me, you know, trying to get me to learn how to compose, conduct, and he said to me, would it be better if I write it in numbers for you? Would you understand? I went, well, yeah, because I don't understand this score. It looks like a... So we do it in numbers, and I went, there we go. Got that, understand that, because you get it. I went, yeah, it's in numbers, I get it. Yeah. Bars, it's got it. Yeah. And then when I went through it, and I started marking it with a yellow marker, right? Strange. He went, what do you mean? I went, look, can you see the pattern there? I went, yeah, there's a pattern there. What do you mean? I said, well, he's got 3 sections where he does 3 6-bar loops. Then he does 2 times 3 time loops. And then there he does 4/4, but then he slips over the wind section. So basically, all he does is like, and it's exactly like this. If you're DJing 2 records 4x4, and somebody walks past the decks and knocks the record, one jumps out on the off, but he's still in the mix. Yeah. And then Beethoven goes, on the off. A minute later he goes, I'll knock it back in again. What I've had to learn is I've had to learn to take an essential melody thread, which runs in my normal way of making music. I have an idea and there's the thread. That's the melody. And for me, I can bang that melody out in 2 or 3 rhythms. I can do it in drums, and I can do it in string sound, and that's it. And I can do it vocal and lay it on. With this, it's a different kettle of fish, because I've got to pull the shutters open, and I've got to orchestrate that sound across an orchestra. And I've got to go, right, string sounds are my basic premise, which I already do. That's the shape of that. How are we going to make those strings stronger in certain parts? Like brass, I need to make the brass play the same melody. I need to make the wind play the beginning of the melody, but the cellos play the end of the melody. So I've literally, what I've done is I've just splintered, essentially, what I do. There is a big difference, though, in terms of the premise of how you write electronic music is by default a platform that, I collect sound. So I therefore have a really good way of placing sound within an arrangement. That sound, however, this piece of sound here has 14 notes in it. 2 of them are a saxophone, 3 of them are flutes, I think. 4 of them are strings, actually. 2 of them are definitely cello. Now, I don't know what the notes are, but the sound and the guise of the sound, I know how to place it dynamically.
Yes.
So it's a different way of placing sound. It's almost like analog sound within a digital bubble that you arrange differently. And I think, you know, at first it was like, shit, the problem, okay, piece based on Darwin's evolution. Well, first and foremost, I've got to get through over one thing. I don't actually believe in Darwin's theory. That's the first thing. Secondly, I'm going to go through Darwin's theory, but I'm going to take it a step before that and deal with spirituality in terms of the Big Bang, the big explosion, and physicality being created, going through the journey of like different things coming from the sea, different insects, different creation, the evolution of that, and that evolution exists. We know that. But then getting to the point where mankind finally comes to in terms of voice, I've gone, well, I don't want to do text. I don't want to write the normal song, because as soon as I write a song for a piece that's based on evolution, I'm constricting myself down to, you know, it almost becomes unharmonious. And that's the beauty that classical music has. And I've realised with making this piece, the minute that when I'm making this piece and I go, right, let's put the flute there. Okay, I want to put that horn playing the same thing. And play back, okay. Oh, I can hear a horn on its own. No, don't want that. I don't want to hear any single instrument on its own. I don't want to hear a single instrument on its own. And if I hear an instrument on its own, it has to be in the embodiment of the shape. You know, it's got like, I've got this shape that it's got to be beautiful shape. Within that shape, I'm going to have a solo, I'm going to have a glockenspiel playing with the winds. I'm going to have them moving, I'm going to swap them over, and I'm going to... So you have to create, you know, I want to create, and because of my sound, it has that ability to be really technical, drum and bass music, but it has to have a sense of freedom, and it has to have a sense of shape and form. I've become used to my own world. When I get my engineers that I've worked with Strider for 3 years now. And I just started working with Dubai, who's another great programmer guy. But I mean, Strider's the ultimate programmer for me because he's worked with me on 3 albums. And working on this album, it's like, right, we're going to do a double reverse fade, bring down to segment, and then we're going to I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll bounce the vocal, do a reverse up, let's do a double pitch down parameter on that, double tone on the low, whatever. And it's like, yeah, cool. We know what we're doing. It's the language we don't have to draw. However, when I think about when I first started making music, I would draw it out and sketch music out. So when you're looking at a score, you see the blocks. If you literally get 3 markers and just go, right, flutes, let's do them in purple, harps, yellow, drums, green, you know, and you start to see where you can, and the thing obviously when you're with an orchestra, you can expand and have as many of these tools as you can within the parameter. It's the same with me, I can use as many of my sounds, but I just have to open channels for them.
You go to a classical show, there's certain rites and rituals you think you have to follow. Everyone's very quiet, everyone's almost like they feel they're in church. The whole enjoyment and pleasure of music somehow seems to be sucked out of it, as if it is purely an educational process.
Yeah, I mean, that's a bit sad. I mean, I'd like to, you know, do a concert where you do a classical concert and you do some really hip stuff and you mix it up. You do, you know, we might do, okay, we'll do Rachmaninoff, then we'll do a bit of Goretzky, then we'll flip it into, you know, I'll be like a DJ. I'd select it all and go, right, no chairs, just stand up and listen to this concert. Have a few beers. Have a listen to that, see what you think about that. I mean, I look at people that go to classical concerts and there's still some young people that go there. They might be with parents or whatever, but there's still some people that are like, we're really into this. They should be commissioning a program on a Friday night or a Thursday night. They should get 10 compositions from around the country of all the new young people making music. People that don't get their music ever played, that have been writing classical music, because we forget. You've got the old school classical people, and there's an interim of all the people that they learn from. It's almost as if you're going to have a whole set of kids that you've abandoned. One second. You're going to have a whole new set of kids. You made them go through college. You made them play these instruments. You force them to go to school, and then you won't give them a platform to play their music.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you won't let them. Maybe that violinist might want to become a conductor. Forget seeing me on television waving my hands around. What about people that that might want to conduct? Where's the funding for that? A format like that would give a lot of hope for a lot of composers going, you know what, I want to get on that show next month, man. I really want to get on that show, man. I've got a wicked composition, I want to do this. And the music's going to speak for itself. It's like anything. I'll walk into an office with Pete Tong and go, Timeless. Right, Timeless, I want a budget for an album. I want 2 albums firm. Oof. Yeah, 2 albums firm. Really? Yeah, because I believe in that piece of music, because I know that's the nuts. The classical world took classical music and went, well, the artist is dead, the guy's dead, but we think he was saying it, we think he's saying this, and this, and we believe it should be played like this, and this, and we believe la 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 yada yada yada. And when the time he finishes, it gets on such a fucking pedestal. Excuse the language, it's such a pedestal that the original composer, if he were alive today, would probably roll in his grave. I find it very addictive because now the what ifs of past work, future work. Expanding on, because electronically, what I think of myself is, okay, some of the work I've done might be prolific stuff, but some of it's just simple.
Going back to it now with your new knowledge.
Yeah, some of it's like, well, True String, for example. I loved it when I did it. I was like, brilliant. And now I go back to it, I'm like, yeah, but it's an idea. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God. But that's it with electronic music. Isn't it just a great idea? What can you do with it? And this is something that I found with classical. Because of, by default, some of it that I hear, when I hear it, it seems like it's an idea that goes to another idea, forgets about the first idea, goes to the third idea, forgets about the second, goes to the fourth idea and forgets about that. And there's no shape, and there's no concept. Apart from the classic pieces, the big balls, the big players, the Premiership players. So I think in a lot of sense, if we're going to do it now, we need to change it now. And I want to hear those new composers. Please send me music. I want to hear those new composers. Whether it's in Sibelius or whatever it's in, or whatever it's, if it's electronic, this could be great as a classical piece. Great, I want to hear it. Because they're really at Titanic mode. If they don't hurry up, they're going to hit that iceberg. Sure. I'm free, man. I'm emancipated. I'm free from my emancipation of.
Would you like to carry on and almost get to a stage where, say it happens a fantasy, but it might be reality, that you are kind of described as a classical musician? I mean, I remember watching that and thinking, you know what, he is a conductor.
Well, I mean, it's everything. I mean, I would like to people say that he was, just, I don't know. What do they call it? A man of our times. What do they call it? A man of our times? What's the name?
Renaissance man.
I'm a Renaissance. You know what I mean? That's what I do. I'm a Renaissance man and an alchemist to boot. You know, I've been practicing alchemy. It took me a long time to realise that. It took me the last 2 years to go, hang on a minute, bloody, I don't know what I've been doing. It's alchemy. That's it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because it's the same process. You know, I like to look at that as a Renaissance man because I've had the observer role of being that orphan in a place where you don't know anyone and you have to absorb everything. It's a great place to be, man, sometimes. I've got to have gone through that, to be able to reflect on all these people's, I can see it for what it is.
David Bowie said that you're the kind of guy that you can take on anything and you'll make a success of it. You know, what do you think it is about you that has that sensibility? You know, take on all these challenges and tasks and you really go for it. And
I think it's actually dealing with real life at the same time. You know, if I wanted to have commercially sold out a long time ago, it was very easy for me to do that. Do you know what I mean? I remember Puff Daddy calling me and going, right, do you want to do this remix? And he went, I want you to do, I think it was a track, he wanted me to do Victory, and I went, no, I want to do Benjamins. He went, what do you mean? I went, I want to do Benjamins. Benjamins is a better track than Victory. I want to do, well, can't we make it work then, can we? And I'm like, well, okay, we can't. Bye. And it's the same as when Madonna called me in that very kitchen and said, just fell out, just not working, not with Nelly at the minute, looking for something new. I heard Timeless, would you be interested in coming to LA? And I'm like, well, sorry, I'm halfway through Mother, and I'd love to. And probably, if I wouldn't have been doing Mother, I would have gone to LA and tried to work out and I'll kick myself there, But it wasn't to be because I wasn't finished with Mother. So, each to their own. I mean, I think that, I think of myself, wow, well, you should have done that, you should have. But I think of myself, well, yeah, but there is something at the time told you not to, as you would have just dropped Mother and gone. So ultimately, classicist, impressionist of whatever I do, and I think for me ultimately would be, to put together a classical concert with some of my compositions that lend themselves towards that, and conduct a few pieces within it, and then get my favourite and get a couple of new young composers to conduct, 2 new conductors to conduct my pieces, and get someone like Ivor to conduct something like Mother, or just change the demographic. I mean, why can't 2 conductors go on a podium and one conduct the first half an hour and the next conduct the last half an hour? Let's see the dynamic change. Let's see if they can make something else. It's like 2 DJs playing back to back. What are you going to do? Well, I'll say what I'm going to do with it. Give me something new. Give me the electronic prompts. Give me can I use my electronics, guys? Really? Because I've got a whole world behind me. You know what I mean? It's like you've put me out of my comfort zone and you've made me just work with a concert orchestra, and you've not allowed me my electronic backdrop. You've not allowed me my trickery. You've not allowed me my sleight of hand magic. You know, and like, you know, give me that and I'll turn you upside down. It's been a pleasure.
Cheers, man.
Cool, bruv. I bet you need to hear this piece of music.
Yeah, I'd love
Off
to.
camera though. I need to play it to you
yeah.
off camera.